Hello and welcome to another episode, the first live stream episode of Dinks with Kink. Well, the first reborn live stream episode.
I was
of
like,
Dinks
it's
with
not
Kinks.
the first. You are incorrect.
It is. Wow, there's assignments in the chat already. We haven't even started, and there's already assignments. I am your host tonight. My name is John, and with me, as always, the ever-present, the ever-wonderful, and the first time on camera for a Dinks with Kinks live stream podcast, Mr. Shep.
Is that totally true, though?
It's 100% true. You've never been on video.
Yes, he
For
has.
a live stream. Not for a live stream for Dinks with Kinks.
I thought one of our first few episodes were not live stream, but
yeah, it was live stream.
He didn't have video.
Mm-hmm.
He was
It
audio.
was just me and whatever guest.
That's right.
Oh my.
And somebody you guys all recognize, but you're like, wait, her name is not Rebecca. It is in fact Rebecca. From the Dinks with Kinks, who also doubles in her spare time as a Roogs from the internet.
I thought it had evolved into a Roogs.
So guys, welcome. We're kind of like, we just recorded tomorrow's episode where we talked about how good this episode was, so people when they hear it tomorrow. That was a mind trip.
Yeah, there we go. Well, because that's what we do.
That's what we do. That's a secret production. Now there are faces to the pod. You are fact right, Ritterton. We now have faces. Those of you who follow us on the social media at Dinks with Kinks on Twitch, Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah, we're on Facebook too. You know, so
and I'm not used to
looking about us.
I'm not used to looking at the chats like you guys are either.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. We've got quite a few.
Why Eager? Hello, first time watcher.
Hello.
Long time Kinkster.
Why so eager? Hello. Who else we got in there?
So, tonight there was so much we could talk about, and we will be talking about some things, but we also want to hear from the audience. This is the first time that we've ever had live interaction, because when we first started Dinks with Kinks, I was still a budding young streamer, and there was like 2 people in our chat, and it was like, my mom and some other dude from like, Germany, and he was just like, I don't understand you, but you're pretty.
You know what? That still holds true, though. I don't understand you, but at least you're pretty.
Absolutely. No one understands what I'm saying. It's what I do. Rebecca is a Roogs from the internet.
I am.
Because no one knew that before now.
Or is a Roogs really Rebecca?
So I think tonight, guys, and people, wonderful people in the chat, we want to hear y'all's kinks too. So we're going to talk about us. We're going to talk about kinks in everyday life, but we also want to know what makes you kink, what really gets your engines a fluttering, what makes you all happy in your down parts or up parts. Who knows?
We can also make this as our first open on live thing. We can also welcome some Q&A, I guess.
I would love Q&A of what it's like to do a fetish podcast or just about our kinks. Tonight, we're talking all things kink. We're talking kinks as everyday kinks. We are talking, oh God, we don't have enough time for all kinks. All right. Okay, I tell you what, this is what we're going to do. Each stream, because we're going to start doing this every Friday we can.
What's up, Right Big Bear?
And we will be having some special guests. This is going to be the forum where we have our special guests when we do. I already have a 4-person set, so we can have people come on as guests that won't interfere with our normal audio podcast. My kinks got kinks. Man, you really need to watch tomorrow's episode, because that kink had kinks. That kink had kinks to its kinks. Yeah, Friday plans. This is what we're doing Friday night. We're talking sex.
Yeah, so for
we're talking about me and you.
For any of our first timers, how long have we been doing this? How long? How many fetishes have we been through?
How many? We just recorded episode 69. Nice.
Oh.
I feel
episode 69.
Had I known that number, I should have given it a lot more emphasis within podcast. But
you know what? It's sad that I knew it was episode 69 and I said nothing. But episode 69 was all about anime.
Well, sad. I think that's kind of business as usual.
It is. That's the one thing that I've noticed, and to give a little background on myself, Mr. Shep, and Mr. Becca is, and I'll kind of go in where we discovered kink. Let's do our first episodes all over again. But me and Shep have been working in the world of kink for how many years?
You know better than to ask me a time-related topic because it's been many years.
Many years. We actually know each other from a social event in Charlotte, North Carolina called Purgatory, which is a BDSM party, but it's like more of a mainstream one. Wasn't it anime? And Miss Rebecca was so excited about that one, right? Oh, she loved it. She was all about anime. She asked some good questions about tentacle porn. She may be a tentacle porn addict now.
I don't know about addict, but I now have a different perspective on tentacle porn now, and I'm sort of excited about that.
So tomorrow's episode is all about anime and hentai. We don't just talk about hentai. That's the one thing that we really wanted to get into, is that we wanted to talk about anime as a fetish. Because the difference between a kink and a fetish is a kink is something that we all kind of enjoy. We're like, oh yeah, I can get behind that. I don't have to, but I kind of like it. A fetish is something that's hardwired into your brain. Almost, you can almost cause sexual
purgatory back in 2014. Sorry. Trying to keep all the chats. This is a new thing.
We do have an excellent amount of chat tonight. I'm loving it. I'm doing it.
Man, we were doing purgatory many years before 2014.
Mandrake, I have never actually seen tentacle porn, so I was curious about it. Now I'm even more curious.
But the one person we haven't talked about is Miss Rebecca. What got you started on your path to kink? What brought you to the Dinks with kinks? What made you a dink? Are you just into that much kink?
Yes. I have been. I was slower to get into my kink, but I have been very passionate about kink advocacy, and I got tired of being ashamed. I grew up in a very puritanical environment, and so because I am bisexual and I like women as well as men, and I like all of these things, and I got shamed for it. So when I finally started getting out on my own and started becoming adults, I'm still in that process. I started to discover my sexuality and really develop and grow into that. And so,
and yes, you did.
So it really just, I started really just not just researching kink, but really just advocating for it, and really just saying that it's okay to be kinky. It's okay to own your sexuality. And I wanted to make sure that, people felt comfortable talking about sex toys and masturbation and, what being spanked, and making that a normal thing and you comfortable with that. And so that's sort of what brought me here. And so I was like, I would love to be on your podcast if you'd let me. And here I am. So.
Wow. Win 42. Anyone here a bottom bitch boy?
What?
I like it. Sure. Okay, here we go. Why so eager? Short list of kinks. BDSM. Good one. Totes into that one. Switch dom leaning. Samesies. Totally a dom, but I like switching. It's kind of fun. As a dom, identify as a daddy dom, anal, giving and receiving. Noise. Light pain play. All right. Role play. Water sports play. We did a whole episode on water sports. We learned a lot in that one. Shibari.
Yes, that one got really
bondage.
moist.
Yes. Episode 1, all about bondage. We talked about Shibari. We still need to do a new bondage episode.
Did we do Shibari or did we do just rope bondage?
We did bondage in general. It was our first episode, so we were still kind of like learning what we were doing. marking play, branding, degradation, humiliation, scratching, primal, total power control, sex toys, to name a few. I like it. Pretty good. It's a good start. Good start. I think we have done almost every one of those except for marking and branding. We haven't done that.
No.
Is that on our wheel?
No. That will be for season
3.
Yeah, that'll be year 3. So much trauma sifting through the Benner kink. Yeah.
I think she meant center kink. Maybe.
A little. Shh. It's a secret. I'm telling no one of the littleness. Kagome.
Littles are so adorable. Anytime
They're
anytime
fun.
one would visit me, I would just have the coloring books and crayons out and ready just in case.
Mm-hmm.
They would just dive into them. It's adorable.
I honestly think little is the most wholesome kink and wholesome title. Mm-hmm. It is the one thing we talked about on tomorrow's episode, and that we've talked about in the past, is that sexual kink, and this is why we really want to talk about kink everyday life. Kink doesn't necessarily have to be sexual in nature to cause sexual gratification.
Also, have kinetic sand on hand.
Girlfriend, John.
I'm much of an enabler, as you guys well know.
Shep is definitely an enabler. He's an enabler, Dom. I do love kinetic sand though, but that's the one thing that I really loved about a lot of our kinks is that before we got into the episode, people were like, "That's sexual." Everything can be sexual. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even have to be sexual when you're doing it to get that gratification.
I'm not going to tell, but there has been several people who, when we did our hair episode and our navel episode, who contacted me and went, "I didn't think I had that kink, and then now that I think about it, I totally have that kink." And I went, "Yeah, well, just think about it." And they're like, "Yeah." I went, "Nothing sexier than a navel."
The navel fetish, and we're talking about belly buttons, not the military, because we did also cover the military fetish, Miss Rebecca.
Dress whites. Oh God.
I don't think we covered military fetish as in naval whites. I think it was a whole episode of naval whites, from what I understand.
Naval dress whites.
It wasn't even uniforms.
Naval
it was just dress whites.
But the reason we started this podcast was to help educate and normalize kink. We wanted to be a very kink positive episode, a podcast, where we didn't just necessarily talk about what the kinks were. We try to put them in ways that you could relate to them.
Oh, that word normalize. I hate it so much.
Well, by normalize, I mean give common ground to. What kinks are you after in a girlfriend at the Dondera? Well, we're not going to talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Look, we don't kink shame here. You want to know what the forbidden bath bomb is? It's a toaster.
The simple fact you knew that right away. I was like,
I got it before Bay said it in the chat.
I was like, I wonder what that is.
We started this podcast solely for the purpose of one, education, and community. But it's been so much fun because we mix humor into it, and we want to I also hate the phrase normalize, but we want to make. I didn't ruin your joke. I just gave it. I gave it a satisfying end. I cracked it.
Your satisfying end.
Well, I'm always the first time, isn't it?
And of course, the one thing that is different between the podcast and the live stream, everyone can see me and Rebecca's faces and reactions to
the puns that come out of my face. Because when we record, we switched to an audio podcast after we realized that we wanted people to focus on the actual subject meaning, not the ridiculous faces we made, even though we crack jokes all throughout the episode. But we do that to help bring that all kinks should be fun. it should be silly. If you can't crack a joke during sex, what's the point? If you can't enjoy every aspect of kink, that's why we have a podcast. And then it started out with me and Shep, and then we were like, we're not good at this alone. So we brought in the big guns, we brought in the heavy artillery, and after episode 10 being her first episode, brought in Miss Rebecca. Why do we call you Rebecca?
Yeah, because when I first started recording, and that's another reason, sort of like when y'all were considering doing audio, I worked in a job that wouldn't allow me, like so many people, to freely speak without consequences. I worked in a job that just wouldn't allow me to discuss any of that in public. And so so I decided to protect my identity to come up with a name, and Rebecca has always been one of my favorite names, and so I've been Rebecca ever since. And Rebecca's sort of become, what did you discuss when I finally that's my role, it's my sexual it's
your sexual identity.
Sexual persona.
It's my sexual persona.
Ritterton, correct me if I'm wrong. We talk on Twitter, don't we? That you found our podcast through Twitter, because I do believe that is person. I've sent y'all tweets from Mr. Ritterton. You are, in fact, there is an eye roll for every pun I make.
Everyone, I go like this. Or
I have seen Shep very silently put his face into his hands, and it will go a couple minutes without Shep saying anything. It's not because he has nothing to say. He just hasn't taken his face out of his hand.
His brain broke.
He's just like, I can't believe I'm on this podcast.
After
what are your top 3 kinks and fetishes? Oh, I think we should do that, guys. I think.
No, yes, they asked you specifically, not we. So go for it.
But I think we should all.
Less thinking, more answering.
It'll be an all skate. You know what? I'll participate.
Yeah. There we
come
go.
On,
if you guys,
come on, Shep. We're all in this together.
you can't come to a kink podcast and not talk about your kinks. All right. So my top 3. If I had to pick top 3, 1, absolutely pantyhose. I have a giant pantyhose fetish. Just go crazy for them, and it's an actual fetish. It's not a kink. And this is another reason I wanted to start this podcast, because forever it took me understanding the difference between a fetish and a kink, that my brain was hardwired to enjoy that. Pantyhose is a paraphilia. It's an attraction to a non-sexual item that's not genitalia, like a shoe or this can or a pair of pantyhose. Next would be a fetish. Believe it or not, I can't remember what episode this was. I think it was episode 7. Quicksand. I have a total quicksand fetish.
I thought it was 4.
Was it 4? Did we talk about it that early? Our wheel was much different back in the day.
Yes, we sunk into it early on.
Mm-hmm. And if you need to know what that is, just Google quicksand fetish, and you'll learn so much. Or just listen to that episode. I'll tell you all about it. And then my third being absolutely... That's a tough one. Maybe bondage. I do like some helpless victims.
Kagoma, you should actually go and listen to the quicksand episode, because I didn't know anything about it either. And then that's what made me want to be on the podcast, because he described it in such a brilliant way that I actually was like, you know what? I don't know anything about it, but I would try it. If somebody wanted to do it, I'd try it. And that's what that the whole mood of the whole podcast, that's where it came from. And it's a really great episode. You should go back and listen to it. So
absolutely. Hey, Mr. Nolan, pantyhose, mud, lyrica pants. You know what? Same Z's. All right. Who's going next of you two? Yeah, I just same Z'd our audience. Shep, you're next. Quicksand is okay. While he's thinking and working up the courage to tell what his kinks are, because courage? I will say,
did you just say work up the courage?
No, work up. Okay, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not courage, because I know you don't give a shit. Just the effort to participate. That face. That is our week every week. Quicksand is definitely a weird one, and I love it. Listen to the episode. I explain why people get that one.
I don't think it's weird. I don't like you
It's
using
not.
that word. It's not a weird one.
It's an
uncommon
unusual
one.
Uncommon one.
Uncommon. It's uncommon. I'll accept uncommon, but I won't accept weird. So I will go if you want me to, Shep.
Oh, you really want to go last? You don't want to go last, Shep.
Oh no. I was just trying to keep up with, like I said, the chats and stuff. I'm getting distracted. You know, my Adderall runs out during the day, so at nighttime I'm like, all these shiny squirrels.
Richardson said it best. Oh yeah, I had that sigh process imagined exactly like I expected from Shep. I love that, like, you know, the people who listen to the audio had no idea that we stream on Twitch very often, and what they picture what we are while we're recording this.
Yeah, but no, Great Big Bear, and they can't really call me out either. It's just a point of, when it comes to the fetishes and stuff, I really don't even have a top 3. Because, yes, I've been in the lifestyle for many, many, many years, but it's been more devoted to, I mean, giving and enabling, while not having a go-to or favorite myself. I told people to this day, if I did have a fetish, or the one thing that I could call it a fetish would be just sensation as well as of skin, because I love just the feel of all the soft and, you know, silky things, as well as just skin, both caressing it, learning it, and that kind of thing. And so that's been the one thing that pulls me towards them. Every other fetish I'm been fairly fluent at, like flogging. I've been known for many years as a decent flogger, stuff like that. But it's not something I go after. It's just, again, I'm always enabling others and their fetishes more so. So that's why I kind of stall out when people say your favorites or your top 3s.
It is when you when you live in the kink world, it's hard to pick a favorite, especially if you enjoy so much. So usually when people go, what's your favorites? It's easy for me to pick because 2 of them are fetishes. I literally have sexual dysfunction without them. And the other one's like, well, it could be anything. I don't give a shit. All right, Miss Rebecca.
I have to say, one of my top 3 actually has discovered recently. Like, I actually put it together. But my first one is actually primal. I'm a primal sub. That is a fetish. It is like
You can tell when somebody's really into someone when they just start getting all breathy and have to pause. Yeah.
I'm like, you growl in my ear and sink your teeth into me. I'm like, that. Yeah.
Sure.
I
loved when we did that episode.
Yeah.
We were both me and Shep the entire time. We're going. Grr, grr, grr,
grr. I was like, oh my, you and Glitch must never meet. but Miko, Glitch is my best friend. My second, I actually have actually put a name to it. I have a very large praise kink. It sort of permeates into everything. Because I'm a sub.
Huge.
I'm a bratty sub, but I need to be told I'm doing a good job. Like, I need to, like, I brat to a certain point, and then I need to be like, I'm a good girl with an attitude. Let's just be real honest. And my third one, I uniforms, but like, and hair. I think those are even right now. I love a man with like a hairy chest and like a beard, or a girl with like beautiful hair. Yeah. So those I would have to be my top 3. So there you go. I also like spanking.
I mean, who doesn't like a good spanking? Giving or saving. That's why Glitch and I are never allowed to fight. She promised walk into a house, we destroyed a futon. You guys stay away from my futon. You're both welcome on it, but separately.
I feel like it's a good time when scratch marks and bite marks are like you walk away and you look at their back and go, I did that. And you look at your shoulders and go, they did that. Okay, that's fun times.
Yeah, those amazing times. Let's go get you some Neosporin because damn. But yeah, those good times.
Damn fun.
Safety first.
But yeah, I think this podcast has opened my eyes to a lot of kinks. As a Marine, have you heard you love a uniform?
Naval dress whites.
Naval dress whites.
But I do love uniforms, like military uniforms. But if like number one that gets me hot and bothered instantly is naval dress whites. But
yeah. And coming into,
they literally were on their phones when we were there. They were like, "Oh, so let's see about this."
We were uniform shopping. I will say that there may be an Amazon wish list, an eBay purchase, a trip to the Army Navy store. And I think that's the one thing I don't like about doing an audio podcast. I mean, I love doing an audio podcast, but I don't, because like a lot of times you miss like the facial expressions and a lot of fun. Give me muscle mommies. Ooh, big girl. Ooh, yeah. Muscular woman.
Ooh, it's a fight.
For fighting.
Well, no one's angel. I am a Navy brat. We were talking about how kinks develop when you're younger. So I grew up, and that's sort of where the fetish came from. Is that my dad was a naval officer, so of course me with daddy issues. There you go.
An amazing naval.
Yeah. I will say that that's the one thing we absolutely talked about during that episode is where. The one thing we try to talk about in our episodes is where kinks develop. And yes, a lot of it is trauma. Also, a lot of it is not. A lot of it is just not just trauma, but mental conditions. Like me with a pantyhose fetish, one of the reasons I developed it was because I suffer from ADHD. I have hypersensitivity. So skin-on-skin contact was always kind of jarring. I also enjoy shiny things. So I'm a very tactile person. I require like certain fabrics, certain touches are either very jarring or very soothing. And that's kind of where like a pantyhose fetish comes in, because it's not skin on skin contact, but you can still see skin and it's a soft material. So 9 times out of 10,
blanket.
It's my safety blanket. And that's where a lot of kinks develop, is either through media, watching content and watching television or certain types of content, as we talked about in tomorrow's episode. While you're in your developmental stage, builds and your brain connects those dots and goes, you like this. Now you like this.
I was thinking that the other day. I was actually having that discussion about spanking and impact play, and how you, as a child, I feared it. I feared it more than anything. It's like I didn't want to get spanked, and now I'm all like, let's see hard hiding brat to see if I can get spanked. Like it's that whole like, okay.
And yeah, but then you look back and go, where did I get the most dedicated attention? While you were being spanked, because you were the center of attention, and you have a praise kink. So you connected two things that you really wanted and you really recognized. And you went, call me a good girl and spank my ass. Trauma, 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 trauma. Um, so that's where a lot of kinks come from, and a lot of times when we talked about in the dub and sob dom and sub episode, I went dom and sob. It's all about family.
Turning into a sob.
Turning into a sob, and I'm dom. It's about family. But it's not just trauma. Like I said, every quirk that you have helps build you as a person as a whole. Kinks develop from you as a whole. So, like I said, my ADHD led to a lot of my kinks. Trauma leads to a lot of kinks. The stuff that you watch while you're learning how to tug on your tilly or DJ your own party. Your brain connects stuff, and that's how it works. Upbringing, affection, accomplishment, deficiencies, all of it. You're right, Meeks.
Yep. That's how I started questioning my sexuality. Is one of the first porns that I watched back when satellite was a thing. Like you had the big satellite dish, and you're aging myself there. But was a threesome with 2 females and a male. And I was like, that is so fucking hot, you know? And I remember that very distinctly. And then over the years, I like remember still having that, equal. And then I went, wait, not everybody likes the same sex the way I like the same sex. Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. That's good.
You're right, Miko. There are not enough people who talk about, like therapists who talk kink and developmental stuff. That's one thing I've always liked about you, and my therapist is really good about it too. She is really good about connecting the dots. She loves my podcast. She loves our podcast. Oh my God, we're all on the podcast. It's not my podcast, it's our podcast.
You forgot the deep diving Riesling chats as well, Miko.
We're not here for that. We're not about that. Not tonight. You want to see that? You want to see that? Go to Don Darrow, another Don Darrow streams content, Aruk's Happy Hour or the WDI podcast. By the way,
Aruk's Happy Hour has almost become Dinks with Kinks Light. Have you noticed that?
It really has. For those of y'all who are just now watching us and you listen to only the podcast, and this is kind of like your first time seeing us, like Mr. Ritter, and I'm gonna call you Rit. I like it. Remember that? I fumbled it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you totally did.
It's taboo. You're right. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But we actually stream content on this channel all week long. We have Don Daring 101, which is myself and Rebecca as Arugs. We have the Blue Skirt Boy Gaming Crew, which is our game group, which is all 3 of us, along with Miko, Zachnar, who we call Nev, Jay, whole big group of us. Several people in the chat. And then we have the Weebs, Dweebs, and Interweebs podcast, which is every Wednesday. So if you like the Dinks with Kinks, but you want more of the humor, come check out all those streams. We're chaos. And, we need to put Jeff on camera.
They really are.
They're talking about softcore porn in the chat, and it made me think of another thing that really, as a teenager, actually got me into sexual advocacy is Real Sex. Do you remember that on HBO where they would actually show you all these different, and that's where my first introduction ever to different kinks. Like I remember the splashing episode. That was like my favorite. I thought that was so much fun. Like
Real Sex and the Bunny Ranch. I think those were the 2.
Yes. And I remember watching those and that being very educational. I think that's what I try to approach it as, is it just seemed they were just trying to shine some light on what these people enjoy. And I thought that was really cool as a teenager. So
I remember the Penny episode. Yep, that was a good one. I remember when Arugs, Rebecca. Sorry, when we're on the stream, I want to call you Arugs.
It's fine.
Yeah. You guys want to know a secret before I get into the tangent? Every episode of Dinks with Kinks starts out exactly like this. You guys, can we recreate the beginning of recording?
Okay.
This is John's audio.
This is Rebecca's audio.
This is Shepard's audio.
Rebecca.
Gotta do it, Shep. Gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
Do it.
I'm out tonight, it seems. Because normally she has her hair up, something like that, and all the flowing hair. There's always a joke or a jest.
And then she laughs.
Or she smiles.
And then you say,
hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dinks and Kinks.
Yeah, I don't wear makeup. Like, this, like, my hair's in a ponytail, and I, like, when we're recording, I'm, like, not looking like
we bum it. It's Friday night. We're bumming it, and we're just like, oh. And guys, you remember we had to record a bunch of them back to back, and we were so tired. And we're like, okay, let's do this. All right, here we go. We gotta talk about sex. All right.
I think we've only managed 2 in a row, even though we were attempting 3 that one time.
Well, I mean, talking kink, impact play, spanking, pinching, pantyhose, and force role play. Good ones. No, I honestly love that we get to talk about this stuff, and that we have developed a community who likes kink too. And several people have reached out to us on social media and told us like what they thought about episodes. Wait a minute, I had a whole thing that I was going to talk about right before I said how we started an episode. Rebecca. We'll get back to it. Someone in the chat remind me what I was talking about. But that's one thing we want to hear. We want to hear more from the audience and what you guys want to hear, how we covered your favorite kink. If we haven't covered it, recommend it to us because
Talk
to me.
You even got your things on in here? Oh.
Well, I can't have like Dondera streams and not do Dondera streams. Let's see. What's a good one? I want an episode 5 and I want an episode 7 with you.
Oh, shit. That's actually really good. I have to admit, that one was really good. I mean, like, can we order like a menu?
Yeah, from now on, that's how I'm going to dirty talk on the Dinks with Kinks stream. You guys who were just watching this for Dinks with Kinks, we have a myriad of rewards for Dondera streams, which is the parent company to Dinks with Kinks. Do you guys want to know the origin of Dinks with Kinks, where it came from? Audience?
Do I even know that?
I don't think I know that. John was sitting around saying, what else can I stream?
This actually started with Shep's better half at a children's birthday party. We were at a children's birthday party, and myself and Shep's partner were there with our kiddos. And, you know, all the parents are sitting around, and somebody asked a question about kinks, and I just immediately start answering it. And then, because they weren't of the Purgatory crew, and someone went, man, you guys should do a podcast. And I looked over at her and I said, would Shep do that with me? Because I love making content, because Shep has been in our game group, and I was like, and we had the WDI podcast, and I was like, I want to do content with Shep because he's fun. He's a fun person to talk to, and he has an absolutely flirting is best classified as awkwardly arousing. Thank you, Sean. And so then I was like, ask Shep if he will do this with me. And then Shep, you know, begrudgingly said, all right, I'll do that with you. And yeah, she was like, yeah, that's exactly how I responded. Well, you gotta go look up Dinks with Kinks.
And then I joined it. He was okay with it.
Let me remember. I'm gonna do episode 12 and
I gotta pull
episode 69. Which comes out tomorrow.
You want to know what my favorite number is? You want to know what it is?
Yeah, go ahead, tell us.
My favorite number is 88. Want to know why?
Why?
Because you get 8 twice.
Oh!
No, it legit is my favorite number.
It comes out. Dinks with Kinks comes out every Saturday at 1:13 because I wanted to make it 13:13, personal reasons. But if you look up, right there, Dinks with Kinks, anywhere you like podcasts, you can look up the episode levels. It's a really fun podcast that I get to do with these two people every week, and we make lots of puns. I do believe
12 is transformation.
I'm all about that. I was all about that, Kink.
But yes, let's go back though for a second because you said begrudgingly and everything else. Why? Why was it begrudgingly?
I can tell you why. Because you don't think that you undervalue your opinion on things, and you don't believe that people will want to hear you talk. And you're always like, I don't know why they like me on this podcast, but you don't realize yet people love hearing you talk, and you are both
You're
insightful.
The favorite.
Yeah, you are the fan favorite. I'm going to tell you right now.
So I hear.
Because you have the ability. Great Big Bear wants to know.
Bates' comment. Right
Joy,
there. Yes.
69 because either I will slack on my part or I won't be able to if I'm on task and just so. You're right. Why transformation? Because who doesn't love a cat girl?
Oh, and it's definitely not fan favorite. That one is all Rebecca. But it's because I'm begrudgingly was mainly because I'm not a talker. I'm more of the doer.
You
not good
are
at the talking aspect.
But you have a lot of experience in the kink community. You're also very funny.
You are very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you're good to look at. I get to look at you. I get to look at you every week. So you know what? It's fine.
Yeah. And that was like the worst thing we did because when we first started, the first 9 episodes, I always tell people like when they start listening, it's like they're a little rough because one, we had no idea what we were doing. We were just starting out streaming. We had just started out making the podcast. You're right, Bates. Shep is a whole vibe.
He's a whole vibe. He's a whole vibe.
And he's a fan favorite because one, he's hilarious. 2, he puts little to no shits up with me. He's just like, I'm not having you today, Dondero. It's not happening. Let's get to this. And when he does chime in with an opinion and he knows what he's talking about, it's fucking invaluable.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm slightly confused by the Great Big Bear's comment. Shep, would you consent to a flirt if I turn one in?
He wants to trigger talk dirty to me, and he wants you to flirt with him.
But we know I'm not good with the words. I mean, put them on my cross and put floggers in my hand. I will do good things and bad things, but the words not good.
That's a flirt right there.
That was absolutely a flirt. It was
like the hottest thing. I'd be like, okay.
100%. And Ritterdon, I'm actually
that was
as someone who listens to the podcast, and you're just kind of now discovering our whole stream life is like, yeah, Shep brings to the table, and he doesn't realize how much he brings to that table.
Mm-hmm.
You good with the rope? Shep, they want to know if you're good with the rope.
Basic rope stuff, knots, no. Because unfortunately, the way I'm wired, I have to do something like repetitively nonstop to hold it in. Knots, I can't retain them. So, rope is one of my weaknesses.
I actually have that.
And black pay and all that good stuff. Yes. Even blindfolded, yes, but not rope.
Yeah. And this was a 6-year concert. I was a bondage photographer for many years, and I shuck at tying a knot. In fact, that's why I wear shoes that I can just not have to untie again. I wanted to create a site called Lazy Bondage where we hit you with a lead pipe and just drop rope on you. Apparently, that's not somebody's thing.
I am one of the few people that have a really fun and unique web, right, John?
He does. He has a metal chain spider web. And I don't mean like a little one. I mean full-sized one where you grab arms fully stretched out and you're still grabbing like the third rung and he gets flogged. He will flog you on it, and it is the most magical experience because the one reason I wanted Shep on this thing, and Miko's right, it's amazeballs. And Shep's ability to flog and read somebody's body and anticipate the pleasure centers is one of the reasons I wanted Shep on this podcast, because when we worked at Purgatory, Shep was one of the professional doms there, and he was the flogger. And when I wanted to introduce people to the world of kink, Shep was the person I brought them to because he understands what it's about, like the very core essence of it. Like to its core. It's not like, it's not a power trip. It's not a way to hurt or belittle or like damage somebody for your own satisfaction, but it's a way to express and build pleasure. And that Shep has always been like key part, and I'm like, that's the guy. Hey Calvino, you're never late to the party, you just showed up when you should have, because you're a motherfucking wizard.
Yes, and you loved my birthday parties the best because I was the only one that didn't get beat.
We were all getting spankings at Shep's birthday party.
Well, wasn't there that one time when it was the wall of like 17 people along the wall that I had to flog during a song? That was fun. Those were fun.
That was a fun night. Good party. Good.
And yes, Great Big Bear, I love to train people and pass on my skills, so that would be a cool trade.
What is your option, and I'm sure you meant opinion, on pet play? I'm actually pretty okay with it. It's not personally my kink, but it's one of those things that are out there okay. And we haven't talked about this on an episode yet. It is actually coming up. It's on our wheel, pet play, because of a new thing I discovered and has become more prevalent. And I think, did we talk about this on a podcast recently? In leashes. If you go back to the leash episode, I give a good opinion on what I think about pup play, which is episode 67. Was it last week?
Yes.
It was the week before that. So episode 67, when we talk about leash play, I do go in a good bit about what I feel about pet play. And it is on our thing. I'm for it. I think it's very, it's fun.
Yes, I've had a few kittens in my life. Quite adorable.
And apparently, pup play, which is currently very popular in the homosexual community. I have several pups who are very into me, and it's very flattering. Yeah, and I love it. It's very
awesome. Like I said previously, it was always adorable how I'm not into the pups personally, not just a preference, but at our events and stuff, we'd have like one or two different stand pups that would just come stand beside me and be like looking up and waiting for the pats. They were adorable.
Episode 69 is about anime. It's tomorrow's episode. We talked about that. We were talking about anime as a fetish. And I do agree that while I was in my developmental stages, I may talk about some of the things that helped bud me into mandom. And I don't want to reveal it because it comes out tomorrow, so I don't want to spoil nothing, but it's going to be really fun not trying to talk about the episode we record right before we go live. So I'm like, now we're like, let me tell you, let me just do this episode right now.
Right here, right
hentai
now.
And anime, because essentially hentai is pornographic material. So we couldn't just make an episode. It's really simple. It's animated porn. But we wanted to talk more about anime as a whole and where it places in a fetish world.
On the whole, anime is good.
And as I learned today, it's total poggers. I learned a new word, poggers, which means epic. Can I start saying that,
Why do we have to keep learning new words? Why can't we just keep using the good ones?
You just tell me no.
I did.
Tune in Monday at 8:30 p.m. where the whole episode is going to be nothing but poggers. Thundering 101. Poggers. I think that Thundering 101 is my brat phase. Would you agree?
Is it?
There you go. Casey, can you use that picture, John?
Oh, did you send me something?
Yeah.
I can put that thing. I can put a picture into place.
Peter, you just happen to come in on a time where I'm like, they are just, and I was like, I got nothing to contribute, so I'm just sitting here.
You always have something good to contribute.
You actually just happened to come in on it, like just on it. I don't have anything. They were doing their thing. I was letting them do it.
Doing the thing.
She just let us do things.
Doing it right. Well, if Facebook comes up, I would everything
In case
is
you want to send the go bag.
Zero Bratty Dom. I am in fact
ready to go.
Dom.
Who's a good Tommy boy? Johnny boy is.
Oh, I just saw your message where you asked what the password was. I'm sorry. No one absolutely heard me.
See, Shep gave it to me. That's all that matters.
Right.
Shep did in fact give it to you. Let's see.
When Shep gives it to you, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm downloading an image.
Right.
So you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves.
Talk amongst yourself. I now identify as a trisexual. I'll try anything. There it is. Oh, thank you for admitting that. Trisexual. I'll try anything once.
Oh, thanks, Calvin.
What was the randomizer?
All right, Noah's Angel. Share a secret that no one knows, including me.
Wow. That randomizer is dangerous.
That randomizer is dangerous. I try to warn people that when you're playing, that variety is a spice of life. You are right. The world is full of experiences. Life is an oyster. You should experience it.
And why are you
Wow, not good for Dinks for Kinks. Didn't see that coming.
Can we not have that one for Dinks with Kinks? Can we turn that one off, please?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm gonna ask to like turn off. I don't mind the rest.
All right,
but that was a good O face though.
Guys, that is right now you're blocking my face, all of our faces. That is Shep's wonderful wheel. Spider web. So
really, I don't see a thing.
Oh, it's on the stream.
It's on the stream, not for you.
Not for me.
Not for your eyes, even though it's yours. And this is what describe this next picture. The other picture you sent me. Is that your?
Oh yeah, and that web, it's welded chain, so it can hold around 1,200 pounds of weight.
I've slept in it. I've hung on it.
People have climbed on and laid on the top of it. Yeah.
And this is Shep's toy bag of floggers.
No, that's my go bag. So
that's your go bag. You ready to go?
They're always ready to go for events and stuff like that. No, actually, the event bag is bigger, but that's for the small event bags.
Secrets and lies. Do you have Kagome wants to know, do you have a whole dungeon?
Unfortunately, not at this time.
We're working on it though.
Yeah, there's a room in development with the cross, and the web will soon be returning home. But yes,
we did take our first BSB pick in front of that cross when we were all together at Purgatory. The first Dondero streams picture taken together before we were streamers. We were just a game group. Was taken in front of that cross. Kagome asks, how many Floggers toys do you have, Mr. Shep? Could you count it if you tried?
I couldn't count so well. Let's see here. Luckily, I can count in twos because usually when I buy Floggers, it's always in a set. Gotta have balance. So let's see here.
Well, while you're thinking, Rebecca, how many toys do you have?
Kink toys. Because otherwise
Kink
there's
toys
just too many.
Or just toys?
See, you gotta be specific.
Like, are we talking like sex toys or are we talking kink toys?
I mean, this is Dinks with
All of the
Kinks,
above.
so maybe one then the other.
Yeah, let's go with both. Oh, Great Big Bear needs to pick me up. Hey, Great Big Bear.
That
I want to
randomizer.
do episode 18 with you. I should pick you up. I don't even know what episode
They're in
18 is. I cannot
It's in
remember.
double digits. Here,
Double
I'll look
digits?
for you. Double digits. Good into double digits.
Do you not have a spreadsheet with that readily available? You do, don't you?
Some things
I
you
figured
I
as much.
don't. I don't
some things you don't
yet.
spreadsheet for reasons.
I have a whole Amazon wish list though.
Wow, gotta share another sticker. Cool.
What did you say? 18?
18?
Oh,
Who
18
said
is
18?
foot fetish. Isn't that the one that you were gonna flirt with Great Big Bear is foot fetish? 18.
That's just pick me up. Totes do a foot fetish with you. There it is. Oh, the face doesn't work on this one. Hold on. I have to do sound. Hold
I
on.
think I got what 18? Oh my!
It's a new channel. It's a new scene.
Gotcha.
Kagome, I have a USB tower, charging tower.
She
In the
does.
bag. I do.
She does.
In
does.
a bag. And
There's
I
a
mean bag, like a large bag. So actually 2 bags if you count my corsets and my rope and all of that.
I can
But
put all my sex toys in one gym bag.
Yeah.
I can't.
I think
I
I'm
need a
up to
trunk.
16,
Include my
18
corset.
floggers, a couple impactors, all the various accoutrements that John has seen in that ottoman.
Yeah, he has an ottoman of danger.
Danger? Really?
Well, I mean,
you didn't see much danger in that little sex swing in there.
It could definitely get me in some trouble.
Oh yeah, there's that. But yeah.
No, this is a like 7 slot charger. It's a
You can handle
tower.
7 slots at once.
It's a tower. and if I'm going to be real honest, I have to like sometimes unplug and like do musical chairs with it to make sure everything's charged. Yeah.
The sad part is,
I do not have a paddle. I want one. I do not have any impact play toys yet. I do want one. I want a paddle. I don't know about a flogger because I don't I'm not want to wield the flogger. I want the flogger wielded on me. So having one seems a little like I want to just go somebody who knows how to do it. See the but I do want a paddle, you know. So yeah. That's on my list of things I want. It's a nice paddle.
absolutely. Let's see. I mean, I don't need for penetration anyway. Ooh. All right. Tell me what your toys are really nice for discreet play. Love Sense toys. Love Sense toys are pretty great. And a lot of them are remote control.
Yeah. I heard there's toys out there that have remote controls and stuff.
I think my favorite TikToks currently right now is people walking around with the remote in there and them like, you know, the TikTok just filming them as they trigger them and watching them go. So I'm here for that. I am all about that. And I think that's one thing I don't think we talked about on the Christmas episode when we talked about toys. We didn't talk about remote ones, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
I was a
'Cause we
little drunk
talk-
for the Christmas
'cause-
episode.
And how reactive they can
Yeah.
be from just your voice as you speak into the phone.
And we
And
were
it
talking about
sends you good
long
vibrations.
distance toys. Yeah, we talked about them.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, now I remember. Yeah, I don't want that kind of power. Everybody wants that kind of power.
My favorite, speaking of remote control toys, my favorite TikTok is where they you have your sub, your sub is wearing the toy and you have her like either doing some type of like push up or she's exercising and you press the remote, and she has to like continue, or like has to continue doing, because if she falters, she's got to start over. Like that's her punishment. Like she's got to do like 10 push-ups, and every single time you press the button and like falls.
Yep.
I'm like, that gives an exercise routine a whole new meaning.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I think, have you used a remote control toy on a girl before? A couple times. It's fun. Butt plugs. Oh, Lovesons has a butt plug one that's pretty good. I think we covered that. We've had a special guest that was wearing a butt plug while we were recording an episode.
See, I guess I'm still old school. I don't have all the remote stuff in there. I'm just one of those guys of having them lay down or do the push-ups, and yet have a lit candle held by their butt cheeks. It's a really pretty sight, though. Really pretty sight.
I saw a very sexy image recently because we're talking about the wax play and whatnot.
Wax
It was
play's
a woman. Wax play is fun. It was a woman holding a candle in her mouth, and the wax was covering her mouth, like as it like dripped down, and because every time she moved, it would splash wax and it would fall onto her face, and you see it start to melt, and you're like, "Do you really want to move?" Because you know what's going to happen. And I'm like, "Okay, that's hot," because you're putting them in control of what happens. I love giving them control and then seeing if I can't break that control is a lot of fun. And that's a kink I'm really into. This has been fun, guys. I'm really
well. Don't get me wrong, Wise Figure, because I fibbed a little bit because there might be a remote thing in the closet over here. So yeah. Anyways,
I hear the old school ship, but for us, we are currently dealing with some distance, so we're fine. I honestly, that's kind of like I'm digging like these new remote control toys because I've browsed the Lovesense website, and there's both male and female toys that you can really have like, and I think that probably skyrocketed during COVID when you have like interactions with people and you can't be there in person, like one person's in quarantine or long distance relationships. It happens.
and VR porn. Mm-hmm.
VR
body
porn.
suits. Yep. With the bodysuit stuff on.
Do you call it Meg? I feel like I've done this more tonight than I have ever done in my life. Being cheeky on tonight's episode. So, question for you guys: what do you guys want? And this is for Shep and Rebecca
On your biscuit.
and audience. Okay, this is for everybody. What do you guys want to see going in the future for this live stream? Because we're still going to be doing our audio episodes every week, which cover a specific kink. But what do you guys want to see from a live stream like this? You two, Shep and Rebecca. Like, what would y'all want to do? Like, where do you want to see this go?
I mean, more of Rebecca's corsets if it's going to be a live stream.
Oh God, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know what I want from this. It's just seeing Rebecca.
I'm just seeing Rebecca. I mean,
you see me when we record,
and yet somehow we want more. Oh, Kagome said,
yes, audience. Review. That's a good example of our praise kink in action.
Call in. That would be kind of fun. We should be able to set up a call in thing. I think we could do that.
Isn't that what the chat is?
The chat is very call in. Yeah, I think so. But maybe they want to be able to have their voice actually heard and talk to us. Because I say, Bates says call-ins, Mr. Nylon says call-ins.
Maybe I'll show off my tattoo a little bit more each episode.
I don't want to see that tattoo.
What?
Shep's tattoo. I want to see more of it.
But I have to get like naked to see it all.
That would be good for audience interaction. And like I said, that's one reason we want to do it, because we wanted to get the chat involved. That's why we were like, let's do live stream. And as you can see, the chat is, visible on the stream, and we want to be able to interact. And I think all three of us have been kind of sitting watching the chat as we've done this tonight, because it's fun talking about kink to other people.
I do not have a tattoo, Calvino. I do not.
That's not true. We both have matching tramp stamps. Just watch the episode where I
Oh yeah, I heard that. I heard there's a tramp stamp thing. Matching.
No tramp stamps.
Matching tramp stamps.
No ink has touched my body.
I mean, would you like some touching your body? I have some ink here for you.
I mean, from you, of course.
I mean, it had to be said. It's just.
I know.
I would have been angry with myself for days if I wouldn't.
No, Becca does not have a tattoo. But we tease her about it. But no, I kind of want to do more interaction. I kind of want to I want to hear stories from audience. So I think Collins would be fun, just so it's not just us reading what they say, but being able to get having a Collins section, toy reviews. It's a great place for said toy reviews.
I can't afford it. The one I want is going to be really expensive, Calvino.
That's why you need to get that list up and published.
Why? Because I can get toys, but not a tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
DwK Group Therapy Edition. Everyone,
like I said, we have a way to get a tattoo on you until you can get a tattoo on you, so we're fine.
Well, hello there, Why So Ego Submissive. How are you doing? Your girlfriend calling? We do not do partner relations on Dinks with Kinks. We keep most of our actual personal lives to ourselves, other than like a story that happened way in the past. It's nothing that we're ashamed of or we don't want to do, but we all have a certain level. When you make any type of content, especially when you do live stream content or comedy content, because we tell a lot of jokes on here, most of us try to keep our personal lives very separate than our content lives out. That doesn't involve us directly. I'll tell you anything about me you want to hear, but anybody else in any type of personal relationship that's not actually on content, we try to keep that to a minimum. So, but yeah,
on this podcast.
I like the idea, Miko. We should have Dr. Miko on for an episode. Love to hear from that special girl in your life, if you have one, that is. I don't talk about my personal life, as do nobody on the stream really talk about any of that. I could tell you stories about past, because it's in the past. Friend me on Facebook if you got it. Yes, absolutely. That would be. But yeah, I think group therapy. We're also going to have special guests come on and talk, and we'll be able to interview it. Like we've had Miss Kink on here before for a special episode, but we want to do more guests. That was a funny one. Because it's easier to do in this free form kind of chat. We don't have to talk about one certain thing. So I like it. All right, I think it's about time that we need to be wrapping up, because some of us still have to get up and do responsible things in the morning where we're all at. So let's go ahead and do any final questions for the audience.
I mean, from the audience.
It doesn't work. I'm just wearing pants. You're in my. Oh, I can't just actually show that because we're in a different set. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's coming. Hold on. It's going to be upside down because I am using a different camera for us. We're not being produced like normal. And pants cam. Upside down pants cam. I truly enjoyed putting faces and expressions to the voices. Thanks for doing and sharing to make content, and I'll help. for the TikTok channel. Let me ask you this. What is one kink you haven't tried but want to? Pegging.
That wasn't even upside down cam. That was sideways cam.
Was
It
it my
confused me.
Ah, well. I got to fix that pants cam. That's the pants cam.
Okay.
I think one thing absolutely... What were we going to say? When it's because me content. But yeah, I think pegging was the one kink that I talked about. I haven't done yet, but I was very interested in. Peg to tail on the Dondera. Yep, that's exactly what we said. What about Miss Rebecca?
What?
What's one kink that you want to try? Right, you were just like, what? Don't talk to me.
No, I was like, what? Like, what?
Final
one
questions.
kink I-
What want to try that you haven't done yet?
Vlogging.
Yep.
Vlogging Rebecca.
Who doesn't?
I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the first and hopefully many Dinks with Kinks live streams. I want to thank the entire audience. You guys have been amazing, and we've answered so many questions, and we'll have more interaction in the future. And any final notes from either of you two? Both of y'all look like, just let me go to bed.
Kink responsibly.
They were all talking to you, so I was just like,
Yeah, you were the star of this show.
I am technically the host.
We were just eye candy.
That's why I asked y'all the questions they asked me, because that's the only one they can tag, because it's Dondera's channel. It's not that they're asking me, they're asking the channel.
See what he says. We hear what he says, but you know, we know the reality.
Shep and I are on the same page. See, yeah, I know, right? They would have asked, this is a question for all of you, but they tag you.
All right, here we go. Let me go ahead and tag Shep. Oh, wait, he's not on there, so it just adds. Okay, at.
See, at Shep, that works.
Oh, but
see?
I'm in there.
Oh, she's in there.
Stop drinking the pants cam. I'm not doing it anymore tonight. No pants cam. If you want to see the pants cam, tune in on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Because I have to manually do it if I'm not in this channel. It's not automated. Pants cam. I'm wearing jeans. There's a vape in my lap. That's my penis. It's upside down.
You have an upside down penis?
My penis is upside down and corkscrewed. Aha! Look, why so eager? Because I have tried saying Shep or Rebecca, but they were missed.
Our plan worked, boys. 3 pants cams. There's a what?
There was a plan? So many plans for pants cams?
Too funny.
Yeah, because they don't know your name is at Nerdmom Ace. Because they're new to it because watching that. So that's right, audience. Thank you for taking up that you guys want to hear from all three of us, not just me.
Yeah, producer, you should get those tags sorted out, like they say.
Or both of y'all could comment in the chat saying, "Hey, I am Rebecca. Hey, I am Shep. So if you want to tag us, this is my username."
Hey, John, I'm a brat. You do it. Make me.
And with that note, I want to wish everyone a good night. We'll give us Shep tag and Rebecca tag. All right, you know what? Yes, I will. I will work on that. I'll make that happen. Tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Con Carolinas TV, where me and Aruj will be back on with the excellent host Chris Bronner, talking about our favorite video game movies.
We get to be nerdy, kinky then nerdy. Yay!
We get to be kinky, and tomorrow we get to be nerdy. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a great night. It was a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. So tune in tomorrow night for
everyone for showing up and participating. It was a lot of fun.
Till next time, everyone.
Till next time. Good night, everybody.